All right, so it's been a while since the last video. I kind of delayed in making the video because I was really concerned about um, being healthy in the amount of disclosure, um, and I just wanted to make sure that I don't say too much, but that I say the right amount and share things that are important in this process, but not going to hurt or upset or offend anybody. And I also want to preface this series by saying that these videos aren't intended to hurt or to be gossipy. The sole purpose is to show the reality of my life, and really the main benefactor from this will be me. And then from there, probably my family members to help gain a little bit more insight as to what I've been going through, or the kind of person that I am. And for anyone else that's interested in seeing this, you're more than welcome, and you're invited to watch. But please understand that that's where this is rooted, and what the purpose of this is. And you might not get as much out of it as somebody else might. So anyway, at the beginning of last year, kind of around the same time last year, I set out to work on an art project with one of my cousins, and the theme that we came up with for this project was storms. And for those of you that know about my previous work, some of the things that I've done in the past, one of the projects that I enjoyed the most was called the Sunrise Cube and the Sunrise Goal. And so following this a very similar kind of format of wanting to learn about this topic, see it for the physical qualities, and then tie it to find any metaphors or analogies, any links that we could to what real life is like. And so there was so many beautiful things that happened with that project, and I wanted to be able to carry that over to this new project about storms. And so, part of my process is I'm very immersive and experiential, and I wanted to find, basically chase storms, and which isn't the greatest idea, but to try and find some environments for me to be in, especially in Florida, where there's lots of storms, lots of thunderclouds that come through, a lot of raining, heavy raining, and it was interesting once I set my mind to experiencing these things. That's when it came in great abundance, and so the interesting thing is with this, that I wanted to experience physical storms, but it's almost like be careful what you ask for, because you might end up with more than you had hoped. But I also ended up experiencing a lot of spiritual and emotional storms, and definitely things that I didn't anticipate having happen in my life. Excuse me. So, something that happened this last year that a lot of you might know about, many maybe not. I'd been married for close to 3 years to a wonderful young lady who I fell in love with, and was excited about our marriage together. And again, I'm not going to express any details here. It's not important. But what is important is that our marriage slowly drifted apart, and that she needed to live a different life, and it was really difficult for all this to happen. And eventually we got a divorce back in October. And that is something that I never expected to happen, and that I I didn't really know how to handle. So many different emotions were coursing through, but I want to read an excerpt out of my journal of an experience I had with a storm that I think kind of ties into maybe just the beauty of life and the importance of experience. And a quick preface to this, I am a religious person. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I do believe in God, that we have a Heavenly Father who loves us and knows us individually, and just be aware that that's something that is a part of this journal entry, and something that is important to me. So I'll go ahead and read that now. If I can find it. All right, so this happened October 27th, 2015. I was at the Tallahassee airport at 5:30 a.m. when I was writing this, and I was flying back to Salt Lake City. I'd been in Tallahassee to get my divorce finalized, and so I was all over the place emotionally, and just really struggling. But anyway, last night I was in Navarre, Florida for a favor for Chris Buckles, my old boss. I went there to check on an electrical interactive that was not working. I arrived early in the day around noon, and I had only intended to stay for a little while to get the job done. Supposedly it was only a couple of amplifiers that needed replaced, but actually all the wires had corroded, so they needed replaced and resoldered. And by the time I was finished, it was about 8 o'clock p.m. That night. I started loading into Chris's Jeep that I had borrowed to make the trip. The wind was knocking up sand everywhere. The weather was an incredibly wild storm. I was on the coast on a key in the Gulf of Mexico. The weather that Navarre Beach was experiencing was coming from Hurricane Patricia, and it might even be a tsunami. I don't know if it was a hurricane, but same difference. But it was a record-breaking storm with 200-mile-an-hour winds, and I'm not sure what the speed of the wind was there, but there were outer bands from the storm that were affecting the Gulf, and that's what Navarre was getting hit by. Let's see. I'm not sure what the speed of the wind was here, but all the plants were bent over horizontally, as well as a few road signs. And the streets were actually covered in sand, making it kind of difficult to see where the road was. I decided I wanted to experience it up close, so I grabbed my rain jacket and headed out into it along the public beach. And it was astounding. The wind could hold me up if I was bent at almost a 45 degree angle. That's not anything that I've ever experienced before. The sand was moving so fast through the air, at times it hurt my skin, kind of felt like needles. I walked along the shore. The waves were anywhere from 5 to 15 feet in solid white caps and foam. The water came rushing in all the way up to the boardwalk and into the dunes and the grass. The rain came in bursts and waves of heavy drops. And at some point down the beach, I decided to take my rain jacket off and see how it would wave in the wind, because I'm an idiot. It was perfectly horizontal, just whipping. And it actually was strong enough to kind of pull me in heaves. I put my jacket back on and headed in. When I got into the car to leave, I pulled my phone out and attempted to pull my keys out. They weren't in my right pocket, so I checked my left. Nothing. I tried thinking if I had just left them in the car. I couldn't remember, so I began searching the vehicle, and nothing. Couldn't find them. I checked inside the jacket pockets. I checked my pants. Nothing. I'm at this point in Navarre. I'm 3 hours away from Tallahassee in a borrowed car during a storm, and I had a flight the next morning at 5 a.m. So not an awesome situation. I was frantic for a moment, searching with this sickening feeling that the keys were on the beach and had been swept away in a single wave. And I realized how stressed I had instantly allowed myself to become. I stopped moving. I said a prayer. I asked that I be able to find the keys. And so I searched the car again, and to no avail. I decided to turn my flashlight on, the one that I've got on my phone, and head back out and retrace my steps. Walking all around, I found nothing. My flashlight was too weak to see very much in the storm. The sand had put a thick coat on me while I was out, as well as causing me to fear that even if the keys hadn't been swept away, they might be completely covered by sand and not be visible anyway. So I didn't find them. But I felt compelled to go back and get a stronger flashlight that I remembered might be in one of the tool bags. I made it back and found the flashlight. It was significant and pretty astonishing how much stronger the light was. I set back out after another prayer. I felt more hope this time than before, and I made it out to the beach. And before I made it out to the beach, and this is where this experience is actually pretty special to me. I felt this swelling of emotion surge up within me. And I thought about some of the people that I love, and that in the kind of trials that friends and family were going through at that time. And I thought this storm is how a lot of them must feel right now. And I saw how it made me feel, just as a raging tempest in the darkness, with only uncertainty and fear because of the strength of the outside forces, the way they easily threw me around and stung. I wept as I realized how helpless and alone it felt. I prayed to God to bless those people that I love, that they'll be able to find their way and find the things that they need in their life in order to move forward. And after feeling that, I set back to keep searching with a different appreciation for everything that was going on. And it felt different. It was almost like it didn't matter if I find the keys to the car. It felt like I got what I needed and had my eyes opened to a deeper level of sorrow and pain that we each go through. So yeah, I saw it more as an opportunity to have my soul deepened in a way that I couldn't have learned otherwise. And as I combed the beach, I went to the spot where my jacket had been waving around in the wind again because I'm an idiot. And I could just barely see in the sand the keys showing through. They were buried, and probably not long after would have been completely covered in sand. But how amazing! I knelt down and said a prayer out of gratitude, and I kept my eyes closed and just felt the torrent beating against me in sporadic pulses, and I cried, obviously. I felt really overwhelmed at the joy that was in my heart for the light of Christ against the pain and sorrows of the world. And I was engulfed in thankfulness as well as shock from the weight of despair. I knelt for about 30 minutes in the sand and just watched and listened. And just felt the storm all around me. I kept having these little flashes of people I love and people who love me, and thought about their lives. And then afterwards I sang a little song called Be Still My Soul, and I got back up and walked to the car and went home. I was out there for about 45 minutes. I only intended to be there for about 2, maybe. And a lot of that time was just sitting there feeling. And so this first video is just about the storms that each of us experiences. I can say at this point that I'm grateful for adversity. I know that it's, I don't openly ask, please give me hard trials, things that I think are gonna be too much for me to bear. But whenever they come, I feel like I remember this quote is from a leader in my church named Henry B. Eyring, that adversity is the excavation of our souls. And I really do believe that the broader and deeper that void is, because of adversity, the more we're able to feel happiness and joy in all the good things. And I'm kind of hoping that these next few videos will be a better demonstration of what that is, and kind of some of the things that have brought me that greater peace and happiness. So, anyway, there it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a double red flag.